That leads to a question, because I'm so glad to hear that you have that passion, because I was having a conversation with a brother in Medina. He since graduated, but I was talking about this issue that we have in the States about having these big popular people giving da'wah, but sometimes they're not knowledgeable, or they have certain issues with their methodology, but they have all these followers. They're connecting with the people somehow. And on the contrary, some of the people who their methodology may be correct, they have issues connecting with the people. So I was talking to this individual and I said, Wallahi, I was like, I think that Mufti would be, inshallah, the best person who could bring both these together. And I want to ask you about his response, because what he said was, he was like, yeah, but Mufti's black. And our communities, there's a lot of racism, you know? And that kind of shock. I think maybe he was exaggerating, because I don't think that there might be truth to that, but I think it's something you could definitely overcome. But since he brought it up, I wanted to ask you about that, so that we could shine attention on this, so that people, maybe they might not even realize that they feel this way, but they need to know that, you know, we can't stand for this sort of thing. You know what I mean? And
right.
How do you feel about that?
Right. I mean, I feel it's a very important question, a very serious issue. Just the concept of people being extreme, people being nonchalant, and just a few people being in the middle. And with regards to authenticity and popularity, as you mentioned, first and foremost is ilm, the correct ilm that comes from kitab and from sunnah, beneficial knowledge. And then having the proper methodology of giving da'wah, the way that's correct, the correct way of teaching and calling and inviting. And then the concept of popularity, we're talking about like quality of your media. It's like a tug of war. And I think one of the problems is that people, they think there's a contradiction between the two. They think it's a clash, but in actuality there's no clash. There should be no clash between quality, between going to the people and you being popular and you having the authenticity. It shouldn't be a clash. Many people, they think it's one of the two on both sides. Some people, they feel if I give the people too pure of a product, too authentic of a product, then they're going to run away. They're not going to like it. It's going to be too harsh, too hardcore. And many people are like that, but not everybody. So those people, they feel to get popularity or to be professional or to go to the next level, I have to, really tone it down and like just start talking all types of crazy stuff to appeal and compromise to the people. And then you have the exact opposite. Those who say, no, I'm talking like this, I'm saying this. If it's one person listening to me, if I'm in the masjid in the middle of nowhere, nobody's listening to me, that's da'wah. That is the way that Allah wants. And they go extreme. And they hide from the people, they get cut off from the people, and it becomes like total like bewilderment, estrangement between him and between his people, and that's a musibah. And I remember about a year ago in Medina when I was leaving, and I was speaking to one of my close teachers, and I was asking him some more advice. And he said, I advise you to go back. I think that you should go back to your country. He says a lot of brothers, they do PhD in Medina. He says, all right, look at it like this. He says, some people know Arabic already, but the average person from the West studies Arabic, at least 2 years? So let's say hypothetically 2 years, shurba. 4 years college. A year diploma, all right? 4 years masters, 5 years masters, another 5 years PhD. How many years is that? That's a lot of years. And most people, when they finish PhD, they stay an extra year. Get their books shipped, get some money from some of the people to go back and like establish stuff. He says that's, man, over a decade. 12 years, some people 15 years in Medina. He says they go back, they're old men. They're weak, they're tired. He says they sit in a room all day, every day. He says they don't have no strength in their legs. They don't have no vigor, they don't have no energy. He says, and it's a highlighting point, he says they're cut off from the people. So I think there has to be a balance, bringing quality, the quality ilm, inshallah, the correct methodology as you mentioned, and also having the desire to go to the people, mix with the people, without compromising. You don't have to. You can keep your Islamic identity, your Sunnah identity, your Aqidah, your way, and not compromise. Obviously, there's hikmah that you have to use, no doubt. But I think it goes back to what is fiqh fi deen. Is this thing obligatory? Is this considered compromise? And is all compromise bad? So it has to be fiqh fi deen. Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati. Allah says, call to the way of your Lord with hikmah. And Ash-Shawkani rahimahullah and Fathul Qadir and others, they mention over 40 definitions of the term hikmah. And some of them say it's fiqh, some say ilm, and some say it's aql. And there are many, many other definitions of the term hikmah. What's important is that you got to know, as Ibn Qayyim says, saying what's necessary. When it's necessary, how it's necessary. That's hikmah. So if I go here Just because I don't say something in this way or in this manner or punch somebody in their face and slap them in the face, that doesn't mean that it's watered down and it's compromised. Doesn't mean that. As long as Kitab and Sunnah supports that act or that statement. So I think a lot of times it starts with the Da'iyah himself. So there has to be mixing with the people, as it's in the hadith of Jibreel. As many of the ulama, they say that the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the people. And there are other hadiths. The hadith says, Kana badizan linnas. He was sitting in front of the people. And the Bedouin man entered the masjid. Who's Muhammad? Right there, that man over there. So you can't be hidden from the people. It has to be known, it has to be available, but there's a balance. You can't go to every place. You can't do everything, you can't say everything. And I think a lot of times, it is going to go back to the discretion of the da'iyah. And there's something that isn't directly spoken on in Kitab and Sunnah. It's an issue of ijtihad. He says go, he says don't go. He says get involved, he says that's too sensitive. You can't necessarily discredit the next person for an issue of ijtihad. So that's my view on that. That it has to be quality knowledge. It has to be the quality media. The sound has to be good, the media has to be good, the followers, the people, all of that. It has to be a blend, a balance, there's no contradiction. As far as the concept of racism, somebody being black, a lot of people being racist, then I feel that it's a reality among many of us. I think there's a lot of racism and prejudice among many people, black, white, people from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, people from the Middle East, Egypt. It's a reality. And the Prophet, he himself, he says that there are 4 things from the affairs of Jahiliyyah my nation will never ever leave off. And he says, Al-fakhru bil-ahsab wa ta'nu fil-ansab. Number 1 is taking pride in your own genealogy. Taking pride in the virtues of your forefathers. My family is this, my father is that. And making ta'an, talking about other people's lineage. You're black, you're white, you're Pakistani, you're Indian, you're Bangladeshi, you're Saudi, you're from this tribe, you're Egyptian, you're Algerian, you're Moroccan, you're this and you're that. That's all Jahiliyyah. As it states in Hadith, man ta'azza, he says those who seek pride in Jahiliyyah, فَكِنُّهُ بِهَنِّ أَبِيهِ وَلَا تُكَنُّ أَوْ كَمَا قَالَ إِسَّسْنَا وَلِيَذَ بِلَا فَأَعِدُّهُ بِهَنِّ أَبِيهِ. The hadith says, let him, what the hadith says. Okay, the dispraise of Jahiliyyah. Let him bite down on his father's waliyadhu billah. Okay, so, Jahiliyyah is filthy, but it's a reality. The Prophet told us that it's a reality. So is there racism? Without a doubt. Is there prejudice? Without a doubt. Are certain people turned off by certain people? There's no doubt about that. And I think it's haram for us to try to ignore that reality. But, as you said, they can be overcome by Allah's permission. And I can say from my own experience, not praising myself, but I can only say from my own experience, if you bring the people sharpness, you give them sound ilm, you have good akhlaq, good character, you're humble, you're friendly, the people will eat out of your hand. They eat out of your hand, bi'idhnillah. And a lot of people, they may not really understand what it means to eat out of someone's hand. You go to a petting zoo when you're young. When I was in Yemen, right next to my house, there was a patch of grass. And every day after Salat or before Salat al-Asr, I walk to the masjid for my classes, and there will be an old Bedouin lady, sometimes an old Bedouin woman, with a bunch of sheep and goat. All right? And I remember one day, some of my young students that I had, we went to the store, we bought some vegetables, we bought some green peppers. So we took the green peppers and we walked up to the animals. And the animal literally runs up to you, and it's like, it was scary at first, because the sheep, they come and they eat it out your hand. It's like they're gonna bite your hand and take your hand with the green pepper. So the point is that they eat, they feel safe, they feel comfortable with you, and they munch it right up. So the concept of having the people eat out of your hand is only from Allah. But there are ways of that happening. You get through, trust me, color. Your skin can be as black as coal. Your skin can be white as snow. You can be yellow, you can be red. Color, age, where you come from, even your background, your orientation. Some people say, this person's a Wahhabi, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. But when you bring them sound knowledge that's sharp, you yourself, you are sharp, mentally, physically sharp. You bring them good akhlaq, you're humble, you give them a smile, you present it to them, wallahi, they eat out your hand. And everybody's not going to come, everybody's not going to benefit, but that shouldn't be your goal. Laysa alayka hudahum. The guidance is not in your hands. It's in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hand, the mighty and the sublime. What your job is to teach and to disseminate. And if, as I said, if you bring sound knowledge, that's the first thing, sound knowledge. And trust me, no matter how many followers you have, no matter how many little followers you have, people, they know the difference. Trust me, akhi, they know the difference. What this guy's talking about, they know it's not what he's talking about. How he speaks, when he speaks, what he quotes is different than this one. They know. So you bring them sound in with good akhlaq. That's important. You have to be humble and you have to be patient with the people. Everybody's not going to change overnight. How many sins do you make? You've been Muslim your whole life. You've been Muslim for 10 years, you still make some sins. Allah doesn't destroy you. Be patient with the people. Be merciful with the people, but teach the people. And most importantly, I think, is that you have to bring energy to the table. You bring energy to the table, the people will feed off your energy. And I myself, and I'm going to say this frankly, you brought up, there are many things that will prevent me from going to different places and be different waves. First and foremost, forget Mufti being black, is my age. And as I mentioned in the story briefly, I always had a problem with my age. And it's something that, to be honest, is very disheartening, but it was also a means of energy. I transformed it into raw energy to go forward, is that I was always the youngest. And for one strange reason, people always, didn't want me to succeed, didn't want me to excel, didn't want me to shine. From day one, unfortunately. And I'm gonna say this frankly, all right, openly. While I was busy people, this group, it was always like that. It was always people that were jealous and envious, and they were mad. I'd have had, as we say, a butt face. I got a few whiskers now, okay, over the years, but when I first started seeking knowledge, if you look at my old passport, I had no hair on my face, no mustache, nothing. So I go in there speaking, like, who is this guy, man? He looks like he's 12 years old. So people were always jealous. And people always try to hold me back and prevent me from shining from day one, unfortunately. And a lot of people, they would disguise their jealousy. Oh, he's too young. Oh, well, I'm not saying this about him, but he shouldn't be before the brothers. When I was the imam of the masjid, he shouldn't be the imam. Brother Fulan should be the imam. Brother Fulan is nowhere in sight. People literally came to Philadelphia and begged me, literally, wallahi al-azim, begged me to go and teach them. The masjid was dead. I went there, I became the imam. The whole entire dunya flipped upside down. He can't be young, he's too young. So that's the first thing. And only Allah is the one that allowed me to go to certain places despite my age. Okay? Color barrier. It's been times I've been in masjids in which I was the only black person in the whole city. Let alone the masjid, wallahi, no exaggeration. And you can ask brothers if you think I'm making this up. And after the khutbah, after class, the whole entire masjid runs up to you, gives you kisses and hugs. The old lady comes up crying, trying to give you a hug, stand back. Wallahi. So that means nothing if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the people's hearts. Where you come from, you're wearing a thobe, you have a Saudi thobe on, your thobe is high, oh, you're this, you're that. That means nothing if you bring the people that which touch their hearts. So I think that it's only from Allah. You have to have sincerity, ikhlas, you have to work hard. And it's said, most importantly, you have to bring the people something that they haven't seen, something that they haven't touched. And that thing is the pure, raw, organic ilm from the kitab and from the sunnah. In a good way, in an usloob, that's something they haven't experienced. And there are people that may hate you, they may not dislike you. Oh, he's black, or he's white, or he's from Pakistan, we're from India. He's an Arab, we're from Turkey. Racism and prejudice among all people. Among all people, it's not just a black and white thing, among all people. But if you bring them that special thing, you're gonna slice through that stuff, man. Trust me. And some people are still not gonna like it. But who cares? You're not there to please everybody. You're not there to win the heart of every single person. You're not there to win hearts. You're there to teach. And what happens is from Allah. As the Prophet tells us, when Allah loves a slave, what does he say to Jibreel? What does Jibreel say to the rest of the angels? And then the hadith says that the acceptance will be placed in the earth and the people will love him. So it's only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It isn't brief, obviously. It's a whole long lecture. And it's a big problem that we have. But I can only speak off my experiences and how I feel. Allah knows best. Barakallahu fikum.